When I was growing up, I had a friend who lived in my community. We went to the same school, had the same interests, played the same sports, and we were friends for many years. I mean, we still are, but nowhere near as close as we once were when we were younger. For some reason, we drifted apart from one another. We hung out less and less until one day it was a nice to see ya relationship. See, in this series, we're talking about how to friend. But what do we do when it's time to unfriend? How do we handle it when friendships drift apart or move in different directions? Sometimes change in a relationship isn't over reasons that are really that big of a deal. Sometimes, however, the reasons are so cut and dry. Maybe you had a friend that had a different opinion about something and you both feel strongly about it. Maybe you had a friend who hurt you with their words or actions. It's something that you just can't move on from. Maybe you had a friend who started walking a different path, one that you don't think is good for them or for you. Wherever you find yourself right now, the reality is many friendships only last for a season. Friendships have the potential to change for the better or for the worse. So, how do we friend through a transition? How do we walk away and handle it well? How do we carry ourselves in a mature way, even when our feelings are hurt and our emotions are involved? Well, after Jesus no longer walked this earth, the book of Acts tells a story about what happened next. With Jesus gone, his closest followers, his disciples, were wondering what to do with his incredible message and how to share this message with the world. So they began traveling to different places, sharing life-changing message of Jesus Christ. In the passage that we're looking at today, we have three guys, Paul, Barnabas, and John Mark. These guys were getting things done, but it wasn't always easy for them. Check this out. Some time later, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns that we preached the word of the Lord and see how they are doing." Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, with them, but Paul did not think it was wise to take him because he had deserted them in another town and did not continue with them in work. Paul and Barnabas were friends who were doing some pretty important work together, but when they decided to go back and check on some of those churches, problems started. The fact that this story is included in our Bible is very important. It would have been much easier if the writers had decided to make everyone look like a hero, or if they just told you the stuff you were supposed to do or believe when it comes to your faith. The Bible is a collection of stories about real people who had real disagreements and lived in real tensions and are doing their best to get it right when it comes to following Jesus. I want you to check out what happens next. It says, "They had such a sharp disagreement that they, Paul and Barnabas, parted company. Barnabas took Mark and sailed to Cyprus, and Paul took Silas and left, commanded by the believers to the grace of the Lord. He went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening churches." See, listen, Paul and Barnabas, two guys, understood the power of showing grace, overlooking offenses, and moving forward. If we can make peace, we need to try. It's okay to have boundaries. And that's what Paul and Barnabas did. When we read the story, their disagreement sounded petty or small, but it was a big deal to them. When you think about it, any type of conflict is always a big deal to the people that are involved. In fact, maybe you've experienced something similar. What I love most about this story is that it doesn't end in conflict. The writer of Acts goes on to say that the two men, Paul and Barnabas, kept going in the important work that they were doing. Think about it. They could have let this conflict in their friendship stop them. They could have let this impact the work that they knew they needed to do. They could have stopped talking about Jesus and started talking about each other. But they didn't. Their friendship changed and ended, but they didn't let it end the mission that they shared. And here's what I think that you and I can learn from them. Being a friend means walking away friendly. You can, like Paul and Barnabas, have a friendship-ending disagreement while still going on with your life in a way that doesn't impact you or the other person for the worse. So how do we walk away friendly, even in the moments when you don't feel like it's gonna be fair? Let's start with one simple word: forgive. So if we're going to choose to forgive, we can start this way. Identify why you're frustrated, cancel their offense, And Peter, a person who helped start the early church, said this: "Finally, all of you should be of one mind. Sympathize with each other, love each other as brothers and sisters, be tender-hearted, and keep a humble attitude. Don't repay evil for evil. Don't retaliate with insults when people insult you. Instead, pay them back with a blessing." You don't have to continue to be friends, but that doesn't mean that you have to become an enemy. This will be challenging, but the work is definitely worth it. Being a friend means walking away friendly. It won't be easy, but the person who will benefit the most is you.